All right, let us continue where we left off. We finished chapter 27 of Isaiah, and now we're going to start chapter 28. Now, chapter 28 is a little longer, so it's going to be obviously more than one lesson, but there's a lot in here for us to go over. So, as we're getting ready to get started in Isaiah chapter 28, let's first pause and let's have a word of prayer again as we continue to seek truth in the word of the Most High. Most High Yahweh, we ask you again that you continue to guide and direct our paths in your word, that your name might be glorified, that your people might be given strength and power to be prepared to receive the seal of your spirit of perfect righteousness. In the name of the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, we pray. Amen. Okay, so we have read through um, 27 chapters of the prophecy of Isaiah. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing studying these prophecies. And why? Because it's relevant. It's relevant to us. It's relevant to us. And so we give praise and honor to the Creator, Yahweh Shai, and his Father, the Most High Yahweh. So let's take a look. First off, let's go to Deuteronomy, the book of the law, Deuteronomy. And I'm going to read Deuteronomy. Yes, I love this Deuteronomy. My favorite book of the Bible is Deuteronomy. Very closely followed by the Gospel of John, Revelation, and others. But Deuteronomy is number one. I just love this book. It's not only historical, it's prophetic. It's the first book that awakened me as to who I was, and who I am, and who my people are. And so I always favor this book. I ain't gonna front. This is one of my favorite books. And so I'm going to read from chapter 7 of the book of Deuteronomy. Chapter 7. Let's see how far we're going to go down here. I'm going to start. Yeah, I do want to read this whole thing. It's 26 verses long, but let's go piece by piece, okay? So let's break it up piece by piece. This is preparing us for Isaiah 28. So let's look first at Deuteronomy chapter 7. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 6. Let's start at Deuteronomy chapter 7 from verse 1 to verse 6 to get us started here. Deuteronomy 7, verses 1 to 6. When Yahweh thy most high shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations from before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations, greater and mightier than thou. And when Yahweh thy most high shall deliver them before thee, and thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yah be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy most high. Yahweh thy most high have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now I'm starting here, and there's many reasons I'm starting here. Well, first reason is the Father led me here by his Spirit, but right here at chapter 7, in the beginning, you notice the Most High is giving commands through Moses to the children of Israel when they go into the land. Destroy everything. Don't make any marriages or peace agreements with the people you're destroying their land. Don't have any mercy on them. Why is that? Well, when you have a chance, listen carefully. I want to make sure you're hearing me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Somebody might ask, and given in our culture and society today, this would be up to most people. So they ask, why is it that he seemed to be so hard on these people? Read Leviticus chapter 18 when you have a chance, because it spells it out very plainly there why he's doing this. Also, remember that he told Abraham it was going to take 400 years until his people took this land. And the reason he gave, he said, the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. In other words, they were committing heinous iniquity in the land, Canaan's children. And he was going to take that land from them and give it to Abraham's children. Y'all hearing that? Testing 1, 2, 3. So because of the things they were doing in the land, which are outlined in Leviticus chapter 18, when you read that, if anybody was to ask, why does he seem so mean here? Read Leviticus 18. The word answers all questions. People just don't want to look for the answers. Okay, they rather make excuse for doing what they want to do instead of looking for the truth of the word. So what he's saying here is based on what he told Abraham about the iniquity of the Amorites not being full, and that iniquity being outlined in Leviticus chapter 18. So we're not going to go there now, but I just want to give you that so that you know, because people ask this question. So once he decides it's over for a people, it's over. Like when the plagues fall in Revelation chapter 16, and the angel says they are worthy. Right? Angel don't say, have mercy on them, Father. They didn't mean it. No, he didn't say that. He says they're worthy. Because once the judgment is given and mercy is over, it's over. Because Father hates sin. He loves sinners, because all of us that are converted to him are former sinners. And again, we always say we have to affirm our trust in his righteousness day by day. He hates sin. He hates the devil, hates him. And he's going to destroy him. And all the people that are following that deception, he's going to destroy. That's why he repeats it several times in the book of Revelation, that there'll be no liars in the kingdom. Because Satan's chief attribute is that of a liar. He hates lies and he hates liars. That's why we say our Father is righteous. There's no lies in him. There's no darkness in him. There's no mistakes in him. Our Satan's a liar, though. And he said, see, this is cutting both ways, but let me explain to you. Our Satan hates anybody in whom his father's image. The last session, we talked about how he hates the black male, because the black male is the original Hebrew. And he wants to destroy you just because of who you represent. And when you come to this truth, whether you white or black or Chinese, he hates that spirit that the Father gives you. He hates it. And he wants to destroy you. Just so the Father turn around and look at the lies of Asatan, he hates it. He hates the lies. He hates it. And he wants to destroy it. And he's going to. So when judgment falls, it's going to fall. Okay? It's going to fall. And he will have no mercy. It's like he told us here. He said, and then there's some Hebrew Israelites in the world again. I love my brothers and sisters. I'm not saying, I love all my brothers and sisters that have come from the same slave ships my family came from. Okay? But there's some daggone ignorant people out here teaching some stupid things. Teaching some stupid things. Some of their things are based on anger. Some of it's just based on pure, unadulterated ignorance. Like this one. Thou shalt not make marriages with them. Thy daughter shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter thou shalt give to thy son. Some of these stupid fools take this to mean skin color. It has nothing to do with skin color. Because if you really read the Bible, the whole land of Canaan was Hamitic. Those are Hamites that they came to take that land from. Canaan was a Hamite. So it's not based on color, idiots. Oh, sorry, but it drives me crazy. It is not based on color. When he talks about being unequally yoked, it's not talking about color. What is he talking about then? It says it right there. Verse 4, if we pay attention, For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. That's what this is all about. Other gods. We're not supposed to connect on a sexual or on a marriage basis with anybody who's worshiping another God, because they will turn you away from worshiping your God, who is the only true God. Now, it's understandable, and let me break this down a little further, get a little bit more granular for you. Sometimes it's difficult for a black man to be with a Caucasian woman. And why is that? It's not because her skin color is Caucasian. It's because she is living in a country that has for 400 years had advantage, and she's used to that. You're human beings, and that's one of the things we bring it out today. Human beings, given the same elements, given the same atmosphere, will react very similarly. You take some Caucasian boy, you raise him in a black neighborhood in a ghetto, he's going to act like the brothers. And you take a dark-skinned brother and you put him in a Caucasian school with all Caucasian people, and he's going to act Caucasian. What we're dealing with is the culture of Eurocentrism that brings forth false gods and has expectations. See, when Caucasian people, they have certain entitlements. They're used to it. I mean, it's getting less now because of the oppression is now covering everybody. But the truth is, there was a time when a Caucasian man walked down the street and a black man had to get off the sidewalk. I remember those times. You couldn't look them in the eye. And they got used to that. They got used to that supremacy, that entitlement. And it still exists. It's not it's more subtle now than it was then. It is, but it still exists. And that's what makes a Caucasian woman a very difficult partner for a black man that has been treated like a black man in this country. It's a very difficult partner, not because of her skin color, because of her culture, because of where she's from. Even if she sincerely loves a brother and she wants to be with him, she doesn't understand what she's getting ready to sign up for. There's things he's just not going to get. His credit is not going to be good all the time. He's not, you know why? Listen, why is our credit hurt sometimes? Because we want to live like everybody else. We want to have a car like our next door neighbor does, but we always can't afford the car. And we don't want to walk, but we got to get a car. So we're stuck with a payment. And the payment is hard for us because we're not making as much money as most people. Therefore, our credit gets hurt because we're late on the payment sometimes. So when we get a bill in the mail, we may not have the money for that bill. We know we got to pay it, but we got to decide, okay, we got to get food, we got to get to work, we got to pay for our car, and then this bill, I'm going to put this on the back burner for 30 days. And this is especially true of black males because this whole system has been set up for you to be in that position, in debt and struggling. So yeah, our credit is going to be bad, not because we're lazy. Hell no. You know why? Because we did 250 years of free labor for y'all, so we're not lazy. And that's to this day. No, it's because it's set up to hurt us. So the Caucasian woman can't understand that. She wasn't raised in that. They had enough money to pay their bills. They got friends to help them when they need. And this is not something one or two. This is centuries. So she's going to have a hard time understanding you're not getting that. She's going to be surprised at how you're treated because when she becomes with you, they're going to look at her funny. And so it's not about the skin color. It's about the culture. It's about the entitlement. It's about where we are from. But it's never about the skin color. It's not. All right? It's just that in our culture, it's become skin color because that's what it's been made into. Okay, because the Caucasians want to be rulers, and in trying to be rulers, they make a white Jesus, a white Christian church, and the Caucasian has to be superior. They have white supremacy. It exists. It's a thing. And because of that thing, you can't just decide, well, I'm going to reject it. No. This is ingrained in the culture, brothers and sisters. It's But it's not because of that skin color that the Most High is telling us not to give ourselves to their sons and daughters. You are dealing with two different worlds, two different cultures, two different situations, and it is entirely possible for a Caucasian woman to come to this truth and give herself to the Most High in righteousness and come and believe like we believe and suffer what we suffer. It's entirely possible. And it's happening. There are Caucasian people that's doing that. So we can't despise them because of their skin color. Just like they can't despise us because of our skin color, especially when they know who we are. So when he says they will turn away thy son from following me, he's strictly talking about the gods of other nations. Why Jesus is the God of other nations. Allah is a God of other nations. Okay? I know people still not going to receive what I said, but I can't do nothing other but speak the truth up in this piece. That's what I'm doing. Then he said you're going to destroy their altars, break down their images, cut down their growth. Brothers and sisters, that's coming. When Messiah come back in righteousness to judge and make war, there's going to be a problem for the enemies. The enemies of Yah, they're going to have a problem. Jeremiah 51, read that when you get a chance. Shows you what's going to happen. And of course, we already know about Ezekiel chapter 39. This is the first return. This is the second advent of the Messiah. You're going to see there's going to be a problem. And of course, Revelation chapter 19. All shows the same thing. See, the prophets speak with one voice. And of course, Zechariah chapter 14 as well. All of that. So then he says, thou art a holy people unto the Most High Yah. He hath chosen thee. See, we're not born Yah's people. He chose us. Now, it's not for me to question why he chose us. All it is to me to do is receive what he's saying. It's not for you to question why he chose us. But the word plainly says he has chosen us. And it's not the first or second place. Moses says that. Now, Jeremiah 51, Ezekiel 39, Jeremiah 51, and Revelation 19 all say the same thing. Ezekiel 39, Jeremiah 51, Ezekiel 39. And there's more than that. I'm just giving you off the top of my head. Zechariah chapter 14. I'm just giving you off the top of my head. There's going to be a problem. That's right. Ezekiel 39, Jeremiah 51, Zechariah 14. All these, read the whole chapters because they show you the first resurrection and they show you there's going to be a problem. Revelation 19, Jeremiah chapter 30. I can keep going. There's a lot. See, I'm already named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters, and there's more than that. But sister got them all. She got them all. Those are the chapters. Zechariah 14, Ezekiel 39, Jeremiah 51, Revelation 19, Jeremiah chapter 30. We reading, and then here we reading here Deuteronomy chapter 7. Right here too. So there's going to be a problem. Deuteronomy chapter 30 also. Deuteronomy chapter 30 as well. When you read, we only read the first 10 verses when we study it, but when you read the whole thing, you'll see what I'm saying. So now, why did he choose us? Why did he choose us? Notice again. Let's read from verse 6. And let's go down to verse 8. Deuteronomy chapter 7, from verse 6 to verse 8. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Most High. Yahweh thy Most High hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, has Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So why did he choose us? Because of his promise to Abraham. You say, that's it? Yeah, that's it. he promised Abraham's seed that was going to be blessed. And then Abraham had Isaac, and he told Isaac, I'm going to give your seed, Isaac, your seed, all his lands. Then Isaac had Jacob, and he said, Jacob, your children, your name is no longer Jacob, but Israel. And I'm blessing you. I'm choosing your seed to take over this whole thing. Call them Israel. So these Israelites are the chosen seed of the Father because of his promise going back to Abraham. Okay? That's why. It's not that we think differently than any other people, or we are brown mostly, but it's not just that. It's because he has chosen Abraham. Okay? So because of that, what I say to you and what the word says, what we have studied is there's no new thing under the sun. We studied that, Ecclesiastes chapter 1. It says there's nothing new. Everything that we're seeing now has been done in some form or fashion in the past. History does repeat itself. It does. Much as we hate it, but because of sin, history repeats itself because Asatan said if it worked once, it's going to happen again. Okay? So, now because of that, what you see in terms of the sins of the Israelite people when they were in the land is now expanded so that the whole world does it. Gentiles do the same thing, right? So when Israelites were oppressive to their own people in the land, Gentiles now do the same thing. So when you're seeing what we're going to see in Isaiah 28 is an oppressive situation based on religion. Let me ask you a question. In 2020, is there oppressive situations based on religion? Is there? Is there oppressive? Is religion being used to control people's minds? Is religion being used to rip people off? Well, we're going to see that in Isaiah chapter 28. Okay, he's going to use that and show why it happened, how it happened, and what the result of it was. But that's why he calls us the chosen people, because the black man that came off the slave ship is the child of Jacob, is the child of Isaac, is the child of Abraham, and his promise to Abraham is going to happen. And then he even further, as we already know from many scriptures, that he has chosen Israel. He even breaks it down. See, because Abraham had children, right? Other than Isaac, he had children. He had other children, several other children, many sons, right? He had with Keturah some children. He had other concubines that are not even named that he had children with. And of course, we know he had a child with the Egyptian woman. He had Ishmael, right? We know that. And so, and all of those children, he told Abraham, I'll bless your children, but the promised seed is Isaac. The promised seed is Isaac, okay? All right. So let's continue in Deuteronomy chapter 7. So because of his promise to our fathers and his love for us, he's going to bless us because he just said that's his word. That's his promise. Now, let's start. We'll start at verse 8 again in Deuteronomy chapter 7. Start at verse 8. And I'm going to go down to verse 16. Okay, from verse 8 to verse 16. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Most High Yahweh, he is the Most High, the faithful Most High, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. That's powerful. And repayeth them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He would not be slack to him that hateth him. He will repay him to his face. He's talking about Asatan and all those following Asatan. Okay? Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command thee this day to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if ye hearken to these judgments and keep and do them, that Yahweh thy Most High shall keep unto thee the covenant and the mercy which he has swear unto thy fathers. And he will love thee and bless thee and multiply thee. He will also bless the fruit of thy womb and the fruit of thy land, thy corn and thy wine and thy oil, the increase of thy kind, the flocks of thy sheep, and the land which he sware unto thy fathers to give thee. Thou shalt be blessed above all people, above all people. There shall not be male or female barren among you or among your cattle. Yahweh will take away from thee all sickness and will put none of the evil diseases of Egypt which thou knowest upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee. There you go. And thou shalt consume all the people which Yahweh thy Most High shall deliver thee. And thy eye shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto thee. See how he keeps repeating, avoid serving other gods. I mean, all we know this from our study of Deuteronomy, but all through he keeps repeating, don't serve other gods. That's the mark of the beast. That's the image. To serve another god is the problem. When you serving another god, you're breaking the whole covenant. Okay, you can't keep 9 commandments and then break one. No. When you break any of them, you break the whole covenant. And you remember when Moses broke the 2 tables of the covenant? Why did he do that? Because they were worshiping a golden calf. They were worshiping another god. The covenant was broken. That's why he broke this. It wasn't just that he was angry. He broke the covenant because the covenant was broken. They promised to obey the Most High, not have any other gods, and within 40 days, they had 2 golden calves they were worshiping. They broke the covenant. That's why he broke it. And the Most High reestablished it with him. So he told Moses, bring up 2 more tables of stone. I'm going to write on them stone the words that you break before. Because they broke the covenant. Okay? So it's the worship of other gods. That's the mark of the beast. And when you're serving in any of these churches, Christianity, organized religions, you are worshiping another god. That's the problem. That's the problem. See? And it's a strong delusion, is it not? Do not people think Christianity, that's it? That's the thing right there. Let us follow white Jesus. They think so. But you know what, brothers and sisters? It's a strong delusion because it's not true. He never established any Christian church. He never established any new religion that different than he gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He never noticed any other gods. He didn't have any Gentiles as his chosen people. He had Israelites as his chosen people. And Gentiles that came with Israelites. Okay? And when this judgment is on, as you saw, as he said during the plagues of Revelation 16 or Revelation 19, as we mentioned, he's not going to have any mercy. Mercy is now. See, right now is the time of mercy. When all this thing is heating up, it's the time of mercy right now. Those people that take advantage and come to the Father at this time, they get mercy. Those that don't, won't. It's just the way it is. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse 15 again of Deuteronomy chapter 7. Again, the promise of health. Deuteronomy chapter 7 from verse 15. I'm going to go to verse 20. Deuteronomy chapter 7 from verse 15 to 20. And Yahweh will take away from thee all sickness and will put none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which thou knowest, upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee. That's the same thing he says in chapter 30. And thou shalt consume all the people which Yahweh thy Most High shall deliver thee. Thine eye shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto thee. If thou shalt say in thy heart, these nations are more than I, how can I dispossess them? Thou shalt not be afraid. See, there's that fear thing. Thou shalt not be afraid of them. Thou shalt well remember what Yahweh thy Most High did unto Pharaoh and unto all Egypt, the great temptations which thy eyes saw, and the signs and the wonders, and the mighty hand, and the stretched out arm, whereby Yahweh thy Most High shall have brought thee out. So shall Yahweh thy Most High do unto all the people of whom thou art afraid. Moreover, Yahweh thy Most High will send hornet among them until they are left and hide themselves from thee, be destroyed. You see, hornets are bees. That's all they are, is bees. So what he's saying, I could use nature. I could send wild animals against them. When we running through the woods because they done chased us away from our houses, remember they're going to take all our stuff, right? Take anything you got, they're gonna take it. Anything. You can go out in the country and grow your own food. That's all healthy. That's all good. But believe this and know this. They're gonna take it. They're gonna take all your stuff. You're gonna be left with just the shirt on your back and the clothes you got and the shoes you wear. They're gonna take your stuff. Okay? They're gonna take all of it. They're not gonna spare anything. And the Most High has it that way. But when they're chasing you to kill you, because they're gonna do that, they're gonna chase us to kill us. Imagine this now. You're running through the woods, you get to a certain place and you camp for the night. It's you, your family, maybe a couple other families with you. Some of us will be in groups of 2 or 3 families, sometimes 4 families. We'll be together in little groups like that. We'll camp for the night. We find a little place and we'll stop. And they're coming after us. They know where we at, right? They think they're coming on us. Then all of a sudden, some grizzly bears come out, protect us. All of a sudden, they're getting attacked by wolves. All of a sudden, hornets come out. They're getting stung up. You go protect us. Snakes start coming out, stinging them. See? Trust Yah. You're gonna take care of it. He got so many weapons at his disposal, they won't know how to handle it. He could just have a dark cloud come in front of them so they can't even see. That's what happened to the Egyptians. They put a dark cloud in front of them. On one side was a dark cloud, on the other side was bright light. So even at night we saw clearly. They didn't even know where they was. And all technology is all good. Technology is all good. Don't get me wrong, but technology is nothing compared to Yah. It's nothing compared to him. And we with him, and he with us. Praise Yah. Don't be afraid. Did he say? Don't be afraid of these people. They're going to be stronger than you. They're going to have more people than you. They have all kinds of equipment against you. Don't be afraid. Learn now while we're in this time. Learn now while nobody knows who you are in terms of you're not on television, you're not rich and famous, you're just in your little place like me, learning to trust the Most High in your life like me day by day, right? Learn to trust him. Don't be scared. Pray for his spirit to give you power over fear. The apostles did that, and he did. He did give them power over. Remember, they prayed. They said, please, give us boldness that we might not be afraid. Because they were afraid of the authorities when they got arrested the first time. You got to read that in the book of Acts. But then all of a sudden, the house where they prayed for that boldness started shaking, and they began to come out bold, and they weren't scared no more. We got to do the same thing. We got to do the same thing. Okay? Deuteronomy chapter 7 from verse 21 down to verse 26. Deuteronomy chapter 7 from 21 to 26. Thou shalt not be affrighted at them, for Yahweh thy Most High is among you, a mighty Most High and terrible. And Yahweh thy Most High will put out those nations before thee little by little, that thou mayest not consume them at once, lest the beasts of the field increase upon thee. But Yahweh thy Most High shall deliver them unto thee, and shall destroy them with a mighty destruction until they be destroyed. And he shall deliver their kings into thine hand, and thou shalt destroy their name from under heaven. There shall no man be able to stand before thee until thou have destroyed them. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein, for it is an abomination to the Yahweh thy Most High. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest thou be cursed thing like it. For thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. He don't even want their money. He don't even want it. When you go in there, the money they put on their gods that they offer to their churches, you don't even want that. It's abominable to him. It's abominable. This is what he's talking about, the gold they put on their gods. Not having it. So brothers and sisters, again, I'm stressing here at this point that the reason we're chosen has nothing to do with us being special in terms of whatever talents we might possess. It's because Yah chose Abraham. And when he fully wakens us and puts his spirit on us, there's going to be a problem for those that are caught up in the lie, caught up with the enemy. They're going to have a problem. And it's not going to be us leading the charge. Messiah is going to lead the charge. How do I know that? If you remember when Joshua was praying on that hill as they just crossed the Jordan, Messiah was standing there with a sword drawn. And Joshua said, "Are you for us or our adversaries?" He said, "Nay, but as captain of Yahweh's host am I now come. Am I now come?" Yahweh said, "My angel gonna go before you." He said, "Beware of him, because he's not gonna play with y'all. He's gonna go before you to lead you into the land." That's Messiah. Messiah come back, the Bible say, in righteousness he does judge and make war. And he said that the beast and the dragon, the false prophet, they gather their armies together to try to fight against Messiah and against his army. That's when they're gonna have a problem. That's the real Armageddon. They're gonna have a problem. Okay. Now, right now, as I'm speaking to you, we're looking at Isaiah chapter 28. And what we're going to notice here is how the religious leaders in the northern kingdom oppressed their own people with false doctrines, false religions, and then they were trying to get all the money they could from the people. Wait a minute. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar, brothers and sisters? Is there false religious teachers that are getting a lot of money and they're giving lies? Oh yes. That's all religions of the earth except Yah. Okay. With that in mind, understanding that, brothers and sisters, what we're seeing in Israel becomes a worldwide problem in our time. Okay, what we're seeing here becomes a worldwide problem in our time. So let's take a look at this. Isaiah chapter 28. Isaiah chapter 28. I'm going to begin in Isaiah 28, going to begin at verse 1. Let's begin at verse 1, and I'm going to go from verse 1 down to verse 7. Isaiah 28, from 1 to 7. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, Yahweh hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet. As the glorious beauty which is on the head of the fat valley shall be a fading flower, and as a hasty fruit before the summer, which, when he that looketh upon it seeth it, while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up. In that day shall Yahweh of hosts be for a crown of glory and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people, for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. But they also have erred in through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and prophet have erred through strong drink and are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision and stumble in judgment. So they were talking about two sets of people. There's the leaders that are drunk with wine. Now, remember now, the Bible in the book of Revelation talks about drinking the wine of Babylon, right? Does not talk about the whole earth being drunk on the wine of Babylon. What does that mean? It's not necessarily just talking about drinking physical wine. We're talking about doctrine. We're talking about religious teaching that's causing people to be drunk. The leaders are causing people to be drunk with foolishness and error. They don't understand what's happening. They're being led about by people that are seeking to control them and use them and exploit them. That's right. And he's going to give them, he said, I'm going to give you my wine to drink without mixture. In other words, when sometimes, like when you get a drink, a cocktail, what you do? You put something with it because it's strong. Unless you're taking a shot, you don't want a shot, you want something strong, right? So you mix it. But he's saying there ain't gonna be no mixture. You taking this drink strong and straight, and you're gonna swallow it down, and it's not gonna be pleasant. So these people here, these religious leaders in Israel, Ephraim, Ephraim is a representation of the 10 northern tribes. They are deceiving the people, leading them to error. But he's gonna be a diadem of beauty for the residue of his people. Here's a quiz question. Here's another quiz question. I think this might be my third one of the day. Ready? Here's a quiz. When he says residue of the people, give me another word that the Bible uses when he's talking about a residue of the people. He said he's going to have a residue. That's right. Praise Yah. A remnant. So he's going to have a remnant people. Always going to be a remnant. See? And that's what is represented today. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there's a majority of people that are drinking wine, that are being drunk from these false teachers, especially of Christianity. False teachers of the beast that rises up out of the earth, that deceives the earth, the false prophet. They're being deceived by that wine. They're drinking that wine. They're ready to go to Easter Sunday, even on pain of death. Because we get ready to get Easter, Ishtar, very soon. We just come out of Saint Valentine's Day. We just come out of the Catholic Lent. We just come out of Christmas with they false gods, Tammuz. Now it's time for Ishtar, deceiving the earth. Make a big deal out of it. The president said, well, I'm looking forward to Easter. That fool ain't looking forward to nothing but money. Money. Okay? And this virus, we're going to see what happens. There are going to be some fools out here that's going to try to get together on Easter because the president said you should. And they're going to catch this thing and die. This is how it is. Okay? But they ain't gonna be legally able to get together on no Easter because it's dangerous. More than 10 people, you can get sick, right? But anyway, that's what people getting drunk on. People getting drunk on false doctrines, false religions. Those of us that know the truth, we're not going to know Easter. We know better. We're not dealing with no pagan god. We know better. Okay? It says, but they have erred through wine and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision and stumble in judgment. That's the truth about it. And brothers and sisters, how do we stop ourselves from being caught up in the strong drink and the wine being dished out by Babylon all around us, on the TV, all around our neighbors? How do we protect ourselves from this strong drink? That's right. We stay with Yah, and we stay with Yah's word, and we trust in Yah's spirit of perfect righteousness. That's how we overcome. Remember, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. That is Messiah, the Hebrew Israelite Messiah. And the word of their testimony. The word testimony is the word for witness. By their witness. What are we witnessing to? We are bearing witness of Yah's righteousness in Messiah. We're bearing witness. We bear witness. We become witnesses. Remember we just read last night, he said, ye are my witnesses. We bear witness of Yah's righteousness because we trust in his word and in his spirit alone. We don't trust in man and their pagan ways and their religions and their traditions. That don't mean nothing to us. We trust in Yah and his word and his righteousness. Now he's talking about Ephraim here. And we know the end result. The end result, of course, was Ephraim what? Ephraim was scattered. The Assyrians came and took over. And the 10 northern tribes are scattered. And that was 2,500 years ago. And they've been scattered to this day. Actually, right now, as of right now, it's more than 20, it's like 2,600 years, 2,650 years. It's been a long time since Ephraim was scattered. Okay, been a long time. Because they started, their leaders were leading them down the wrong path. This is how he describes it. See, the Bible doesn't, the Most High, when he speaks through his prophets, he don't mince words, man. Remember he told Ezekiel, he said, I want you to eat man's dung in your bread. That's what he said to him. I want you to eat man's dung in your bread, is what he told Ezekiel. And he said, why? Why do I have to eat man's dung in my bread? He said, because your people are going to go naked into captivity in chains, and you're going to be eating your enemy's food, defiled bread in your enemy's land. So he told Ezekiel to eat dung. And then Ezekiel begged him, please don't make me do that. He said, okay, I'm going to let you make your bread with cow's dung. He did. And we just read here Both Isaiah and Ezekiel were told to walk naked in front of the people. See, he put his prophets through some stuff, right? So he don't, and then he talked about Ezekiel was given a prophecy where he talked about the Israelite nation as a woman that was like a porn star and like large penises going into her. That's what he talked about in the book of Ezekiel. So she's insatiable. He said most whores do it for money, but you just do it because you just do it. He comes with some straight stuff, man. So here in Isaiah, it's going to be straight again. I'm not trying to be nasty. This is what the Father gave to the prophet. So watch this now. Start again at verse 8. Actually, let's go from verse 8, and go down from verse 8 down to verse 12. Isaiah chapter 28 from verse 8 to 12. Notice what he says. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. Talking about the religious services of these leaders that are leading the people in the wine of Babylon. He said, full of vomit and filthiness. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to his people. Wait a minute. To whom he said, this is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, yet ye would not hear. Brothers and sisters, let's talk about this for a minute. So vomit. Let me ask y'all a question. Here's another quiz question. Are you ready? Y'all been pretty good today. This one's a little more tricky, a little more, but not really. It's not a trick question. In the New Testament, in a prophetic utterance, the Messiah speaks again about vomit. Where does he do that? He talks about vomit. I'm going to even give you the book. It's in Revelation. He talks about vomit. It's like here. That's exactly right. He say, I'm going to spew you out of my mouth. And the word spew is the word vomit. That's the word. That's right. That's the Laodicean church. I'm on. Y'all good. Y'all good today. So that's the Laodicean church. So he said, because you are lukewarm and not hot or cold, I'm going to vomit you. You just making me sick. Because you're not wearing my righteousness. He said, I counsel you, buy some clothes for me, that you be covered. Get some eye salve, my spirit, that you can see, because you blind and you poor. You think you got money, but you ain't got nothing. And you're going to make me vomit you out. You making me sick. Same thing here. He said, tables are full of vomit and filthiness. There's no place clean. He said, whom are you going to teach knowledge? They that look precept upon precept, that look at his word and line upon line, precept upon precept. That's not what they do in Christianity. In Christianity, they take one verse and they run with that baby. We were talking about earlier how they don't even want to deal with the book of Hebrews, because if you look in the book of Hebrews, it shows you what the real new covenant's about. And it's not about Caucasian people and Christianity. That's not the new covenant. It's not about the creation of Christianity. The new covenant is only with Israel and Judah. But you won't know that unless you read Hebrew, and they don't want to deal with Hebrews. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. And then he said in verse 11 of Isaiah 28, with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. Wait, he also said, now, am I wrong when he said, I'm going to bring you to a nation where your language is foreign? I'm gonna bring you to a foreign nation with strange language that you're not going to understand. Isn't that what he did? That's what he did. I'm gonna bring you to a nation of people that worships wood and stone, and you're not gonna understand what they're saying to you. That's why, when they first took slaves, I'm just being honest with y'all. All the slaves could say to them is who they were. Evil, evil, evil. That's what they kept saying. Matter of fact, if you look at some of the old slave documents where they were selling slaves, they would say evils for sale. Because that's what the slaves would say. Evil, evil, evil. Because they're trying to say they're Hebrew. Right? Because they didn't understand these Caucasian people taking them in chains and where they were being sent in this whole culture thing. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know what they were doing. All they could say, we evil, evil. And they change your name, change your language. And the word nigger. Nigger, where that come from? You know where the word nigger come from? Now, the dictionary says it's ignorant, but it comes from Niger. We call it Niger. From which you get the word, the whole country, Niger, and the word Nigeria, which means dark, which means black. In the Bible, it talks about his disciples that came back to Jerusalem from Niger. They call some of them Niger because they were black. So the Caucasian man not understanding evil or not understanding Niger, he said nigger. See, when I hear it now, I know what it means. I know where it comes from, so it doesn't bother me. But you see, it doesn't bother me. I know what they're trying to accomplish by saying that word. They're trying to get us angry, trying to demean us and everything, and they've been doing it for a while. But now we're awakening. The blindfold is off, and we're starting to see where this is all coming from. He said, with a stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. That's what's going on. Gave us this whole word from Hebrew into English. That was not our language. We don't even know how to say our language. We don't even know how to say our language. Our language is Hebrew. And the closest we got to is what the Ashkenazis have developed. And they're not Hebrew. They're not even Semites. But that's the closest we got. And that's why we praise Yah when he says in Zephaniah, I'm going to give you a pure language. He's going to, in fact, let's take a look at it. He said he's going to return to us a pure language. Zephaniah. It come right before Haggai. Zephaniah. Yeah. Zephaniah chapter 3. Zephaniah is a small little, almost like an epistle, but it's a prophecy, but it's powerful, man. Zephaniah chapter 3. Zephaniah chapter 3. Again, this is along the same lines of what we just read in Isaiah 28. And this is along the same line. I'm going to start at verse 1 of chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 1, chapter 3, and I'm going to go down to verse 9. Zephaniah chapter 3, from verse 1 to 9. Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. She obeyed not the voice, she received not correction. She trusted not in Yahweh, she drew not near to her Most High. Her princes within her are roaring lions, her judges are evening wolves. They gnaw not the bones to the marrow. Her prophets are light and treacherous persons. Her priests have polluted the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. The just Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. I have cut off the nations, and their towers are desolate. I made their streets waste, that none passeth by. Their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, that there is none inhabitant. I said, surely thou wilt fear me, thou wilt receive instruction, so their dwelling should not be cut off. Howsoever I punished them, but they rose early. and corrupted all their doings. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour out mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For then will I turn to the people a pure language. See? That they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent. See? He's going to pour out a pure language. He's going to punish this entire planet. He's going to have a remnant of the people, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, that study his word, that trust him, that want his spirit of righteousness, that want the glory of the Father above all things. Now is the time of mercy, brothers and sisters. This right now. We're coming to the end of it. The last vestige of mercy is going to come through the 144,000. Because they're going to cause the word, and this is the thing. Again, it's not because of anything in terms of their physical ability. It's going to be because of the power of the Father's Spirit that has endowed them. Right now, brothers and sisters, we are now being prepared for that. We're being prepared by study of his word, by trusting him in times of oppression and difficult situations. We're being judged. Not judged, we're being led and taught and developed in quiet for 3.5 years. Or should I say especially for 3 years. Messiah was developing the apostles. He was bringing, they were with him. The people were focusing on Messiah, but Messiah was training his apostles. And then he tested them. He tested them. How did he test them? He bring forth a very strong doctrine. Very strong. He said, you got to eat my flesh and drink my blood to be saved. And the leadership of the religions of that time, they rejected and laughed at him. And it caused some of the people that had been his disciples to depart from him. John 6:66. Let's take a look at it. See, it's all a purification. It's a purifying and a separation. That's what we're going through right now. And that's why some of the doctrines that we're learning are it's difficult. Not difficult to understand, but difficult to receive because you never heard this before. Messiah came out with stuff that even the Hebrews he was talking to had not heard like that. Gospel of John, chapter 6. We're going to finish with this one here. Gospel of John, chapter 6. Let's see. Start at verse 51. I'm going to start at verse 51. And we're going to go all the way down to 60, but we're going to go in pieces each. So I'm going to start at verse 51 and read down to verse 56. Gospel of John, chapter 6, from verse 51 to 56. Messiah said, and he says, I am, but we know that's Ahia, right? But I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread I will give is my flesh, which I give for the life of the world. The Israelites therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? And Yahweh said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. Whosoever eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. Let me stop right there for a minute. See, that verse 56 ties it all together. What he's saying is you become one in the spirit. He says, I dwell in you and you dwell in me, because what you eat becomes one part of your body, right? At least until you waste it out, whatever waste material. But when you eat something, it becomes part of your body. What he's saying is you must become one with me. My spirit must be one with your spirit. And the Father's spirit is what actuates Messiah. So Father is saying, you receive Messiah, you must become one with our spirit. And that was Messiah's prayer when he said in John 17 that we may all be one. So what we're doing in seeking the righteousness of the Father, we're seeking Father's glory because we know and understand that by that righteousness we obey the Father. That's why he's saying, you want to be saved? You got to become one. You got to dwell in me and I got to dwell in you. Or we can't make it. You got to be given over to the Father. Completely given over. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. It's the same thing he meant when he told not Nebuchadnezzar, Nicodemus, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom. It's the same thing because it's the Father's spirit. He said that which is flesh, and that which is spirit. And he told Nicodemus, you should know better. You should know these things. You're a teacher in Israel. You don't know this? That's how far we've fallen, brothers and sisters. Then let's read from verse 57. From verse 57 down to verse 57 down to verse 60. From verse 57 down to verse 60. Gospel of John, chapter 6. As the living Father has sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, this is an hard saying. Who can hear it? They didn't want to know, because what he was saying is you have to fully commit to me. You can't see, a lot of the people were trying to be with the Pharisees and with Messiah at the same time. They're trying to tease with the truth and yet, not let it on that they're gone yet. And he's saying here, no, you got to stand with me all the way against all these people. You got to take a decided stand for me, or you're not with me. And they knew what he was saying, because listen, anytime the disciples didn't understand what he was saying, they would go to him privately and say, please explain this to us. And he would explain it. Right? So Messiah was not above explaining something if somebody said, I just don't understand. But they knew what was going on. They knew what he was saying. It's time to take a stand, he was saying. It's time to take a stand. It's time to become one with this movement or not. And they were here, the Pharisees looking at them, their families looking at them, and they got to make a decision in front of everybody. Hey, that sounds familiar. We're living in a time where we all need to make decided decisions for who we standing for. If you're standing for the Father and his Spirit, you got to stand on it. Because all your family, your friends, your church leaders, they're going to be against you. And you got to make a decision. Now, most people are going to decide just like the majority of these disciples decided. Let's continue. John chapter 6. Let's go from verse 61 down to verse 66. Remember we talked about John 6:66? Right. John chapter 6 from verse 61 to verse 66. When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, does this offend you? What and if ye see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. See, he's trying to explain to them, but they should already know. But there are some of you that believe not. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not, and who should betray him. And he said, therefore said I unto you that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father. From that time, many of the disciples went back and walked no more with him. You see, there was a lot of pretenders at the beginning, but then when the heat was turned up, they went away. And brothers and sisters, the sheep and the goats are being separated right now. The wheat and the tares are being separated right now. See, people are thinking that this is not going to happen until Messiah returns. No. When Messiah returns, it's already done. It's already done. They're being separated now. People are making decisions, final decisions, right now. Right now. And I know this bothers people because you got family and friends that they made decisions yet. Keep praying. This is the time of mercy. Keep praying. Just keep praying for them. Ask your Father's Spirit as He came to you to come to them, and He will do that. He will send angels to them to speak with them. They won't see the angels, but they'll feel the effects. They'll feel that influence trying to guide them back to truth. Because this is the time right now. At that time, when He said, "You got to eat my flesh and drink my blood," and He said it because there was the Pharisees out there, the people's families was out there in Capernaum. Everybody was listening, and He said it in front of everybody. You got to take a stand. You got to eat my flesh and drink my blood. You got to take a stand. You got to become one with me. You got to join this thing or don't. They say, "Oh, wait, man, I'm still with the church, man. I'm not against the church, man. I'm still with the church, Reverend. But no, I'm with the church, Reverend." That's where we at. You can keep drinking that wine that's making you drunk and it's vomit, or you can go here a little, there a little, line upon line, precept upon precept, following the spirit of truth. You got a choice to make. All of us does. All of us got to make a choice. Ain't no exceptions. Everybody that's standing in the kingdom of Yah will have stood on firm ground on the stone that is Messiah, on the rock for themselves. Against everybody you know. You ain't got to stand against the whole world because you don't know the whole world. See, it's easier. Tell the truth now. It's easier to stand firm when strangers are looking at you, right? I mean, strangers, who cares, right? But when it's your family, it's people that know you, it's people that grew up with you, people that watched you, ate with you, and you got to take a stand in front of them. That's a whole different thing. And don't force it. You ain't got to force the stand. All you got to do is commit to it in the spirit and in the word. The Most High will bring you into position where you'll be suddenly in front of some people that know you, and they'll be asking you, "What are you doing, man? What is this you believe? Are you part of that Hebrew Israelite cult?" It could be at a Thanksgiving dinner. You show up there for Thanksgiving. It could be at their Christmas dinner, their Easter Sunday dinner. You ain't gonna have that this year because of the virus. But brothers and sisters, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. Because you know why? You cannot enter the kingdom without having to take a stand by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your witness. Like I said, man, there's no problem standing in front of strangers. I don't care what strangers think about me. But you let my mother, my father, my brother, my sisters, my cousins, they see me, they know me, and they know you. Yours know you. And you're going to have to take that stand in front of them. Eat his flesh and drink his blood in front of them. Most High is going to give you the strength to do it too. You got to decide. Most of his disciples that time, he had lots of disciples. He had more than 12. He sent 70 out at one time, remember? And they said, "Oh, no, man. No. I'm not with this cult. I'm not with this cult." All of a sudden, they're not with it no more. Okay. It's all good. Brothers and sisters, is coming to that. The religious leaders are just like what happened in Ephraim. They're leading people to err. They're false prophets. All of these churches are filled with false prophets. They don't like you. They don't know you. They just want what's in your pocket. They want to control you. They control freaks because they master Asatan is the ultimate control freak, the ultimate psychotic control freak. And if you want to be free, you need to make a stand for the truth. Let's have a word of prayer. Most High Yahweh, we just give you the praise, the honor, and the glory. We don't have any strength in ourselves to do what is right, but we give you praise for your spirit of righteousness, your power of grace. Please continue to guide us only for the purpose of us giving you all the praise, the honor, and the glory. In the name of the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, we pray. Amen. Please have a pleasant Sabbath. Stay safe, stay healthy. Pray for us that we be faithful, as we pray for you also that you be faithful. Amen.